All right, so this is day 5 of my story. And I tell some stories about before I left the hospital, people who came to visit me, things like that. A couple of people I met. The first one I'll tell is some people I met. If I remember correctly, when I was first there, I met this one guy, and this guy is very, very a big part, inspirational, very inspirational, and he's a big part of my life, a big part of my story. I mean, of who I became, who I am, who I looked up to, a person I looked up to. Reason being is I was so complicated to deal with when it came to the therapist and doing my therapy. Like I said, I would say inappropriate things. Unfortunately, I regret that. Um, I was, like I said, hard to deal with. I didn't want to get up early, so they accommodated me by coming later. Thank God for them doing that because they didn't have to do none of that. They could have just got rid of me. And so this one person who I always looked up to, this man never, I never seen him complain. He was always so positive. He would always joke about his disability. Because I don't think he really looked at it as a disability. And that's another thing. I met a few people who didn't look at it like that. I'll get into that after this. So, unlike me, I was so lazy sometimes. I didn't want to do a lot of the work, especially when I was first admitted into the hospital. I didn't think I needed any of it. I didn't understand how important it was to learn all these things that the hospital were trying to teach me as to living in a chair, how to do it, how to dress myself, how to just live, period. And so this guy, everything he would just soak it up. And like I said, the hospital would play games with us. And one of the games they played was like a Jeopardy. And I noticed he would always know the answers. And at first, I was just trying to learn the answers just to win. Because, like I said, when you would win, they will get you food from the outside. Most times would be the reward. And like I said, we didn't know that the hospital food was so good. I didn't know until I left. So we would always want outside food, and I would always want to win the competitions just for that. But I didn't realize that he was doing it because he knew that this was going to be his life. So he would want to win. So he ensured that he knew everything he needs to know about his life. And they would ask us questions like, "How big is your RAM?" And he would know the answers to that. I can't even remember the answers to that. Stuff, how often should you use the bathroom? What happens if you feel dysreflexic? What should you do? What should you check? And he would just answer. When it would come to him, he would always pick the highest numbers and hardest questions and always win them. And another thing about this guy that I would learn is, so they would always want you to try to do therapy outside of therapy. And I would always look at it as, no, that's work. I'm done with therapy. Once I don't want to do no more. I'm tired, just so lazy. And one of the things they would want, we're in a manual chair most times, unless they can get you an electric chair. So, but sometimes they will keep you in a manual chair, even if they got you an electric chair to use in that hospital. And one of my therapies was to push myself all the way to the cafeteria, for example. And I would always find ways out. If I didn't find a nurse who didn't know that the therapist wanted that, I would always be like, "Hey, can you push me to the cafeteria, for example?" And they would push me, and unless the therapist saw, they would be like, "What are you doing? He's supposed to be pushing himself." And so the therapist would find out, and they wouldn't, or my nurses would find out, or whoever I asked to do that, so they wouldn't do it no more. So I would find a parent on my way there, or whoever I can get my hands on, or one of the other guys, because there were so many guys. in the hospital. So maybe I have a few stories to tell before I get into when I got discharged. Um, so this one that I'm talking about, he would always just be pushing himself, and I would just look at him because me and him probably had the same strength. If not, and no disrespect to him, if not, I would think I had a little more strength than him. Maybe a little more movement, if anything. And this guy would just just be pushing himself to the cafeteria, and I'll be looking at him, and he'll be taking forever sometimes, and I didn't realize that he didn't care. I guess he just knew that, hey, this might be his life, and if he doesn't get an electric chair, this is how he's gonna do it. And he was so stubborn. Anytime somebody did offer to push him, he wouldn't take it. Not that I saw. He would just be just slowly just pushing himself as long as it took him to get there. Another one that I can't ever forget is this dude was so funny. Man, he has so many funny stories, but the one that stuck out the most. So it was hard for me to joke about my disability. Uh, I don't know why, but it was hard for me to joke about it. Um, and this guy, I remember one time his bed, if I'm not mistaken, was in the hallway. Because it was probably a weekend or something, not a lot of patients there, and it was probably just men as patients there. So he was in the hallway, and they were helping him do something, and he had pants that buckled or that had a lot of buttons on the side. I mean, just buttons, buttons, and they were helping him do something. And the men sometimes they would lift us up, like how men, like how a man would like grab a woman, or because it's, they're strong enough to do it. I don't know how to explain it. So, anyways, the way they grabbed him, I forgot they grabbed him, and they grabbed him by his pants, and his pants started unbuckling, and when his pants started unbuckling, he turned, I forgot how, to the bed, and he was able to catch himself on his elbows. And when he caught himself on his elbows, he put his hands together. And when he put his hands together, I'm like, man, it looks like he's, and then they were holding his pants. So he, went down, not hard or nothing, but, slowly. And he got on his knees. And like I said, it looked like he did it purposely. Like they were helping him get on his knees and for him to, and I was like, man, it looks like, I know he's falling and this is messed up, but it looks like they're helping him so he could pray. And sure enough, as it looks like that, and they're all feeling bad and freaking out, like, oh my God, I'm sorry, before they can help him up, he just starts praying, acts like he's praying, like, dear God, da da da. And oh my goodness, the whole nurses station lose it. I lose it. And I was like, dang, it's hard to look at this situation as it is. And the nurses are like, stop, 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 because he's continually praying as they're like, yo, we're supposed to be, we just dropped you. Like, like, come on, man, you're making us laugh. We got to focus. We got to get you up. And he's just praying. And anyways, of course, they got him up. It was an accident. Accidents happen, people. Do not sue the hospital. They're great people. Um, and it was a funny situation. He was not hurt. Um, I'm pretty sure I know for a fact he would vouch too. Like I said, this hospital is amazing. And just things like that with this guy. And there was a lot of amazing stories I have. And another one was this big dude, like I said, the one that was laying on his stomach when I first met him. And the reason why he was laying on his stomach was because he had a wound on his bottom, or the back, on his backside somewhere. So he had to be off of it, and he did not want to be confined to being in bed or nothing like that. So I guess he was injured for most of his life, so he always found ways to take care of himself, or to be out, or independent as possible. And I guess they found a stretcher type thing. And the crazy thing about this dude, like I said, I don't know if it was because he was in this chair most of his life because this dude was huge. All I remember is, like I said, that night the first night when I finally left my room and they took me to the mall, this guy was laying on this stretcher and his legs were laid out, and I just remember he was huge, and I remember he looked like a guy that was probably, kind of hood or maybe from the streets. And me and this guy, we ended up getting very close. And um, the thing about this guy, there's a lot of things about him I'll never forget. There's a lot of things about a lot of these, individuals I'll never forget. But a few things about him, because me and him got probably more closer than the other individual I was just mentioning, the very positive, very, oh my goodness, very funny guy. And so the thing about this other man, I remember like I said, he was so built, and I guess he used to like to work out. And they used to do therapy for him, but there wasn't really much they could teach him because he was very fully independent, and he was mostly there for a wound. But they did the therapy. But anyways, so I remember he used to get in trouble because so there was wheels on the side of this big thing, but it hurt him, I guess, to stretch out that much to push these big wheels and to be laying flat. Just imagine laying flat on your stomach and pushing these big wheels trying to get around on this stretcher. So they gave him plungers in front of him. So he would always use the plungers to move forward, and they would stick and unstick, stick and unstick, and he liked that a lot more than the wheels. And then I noticed once he got the plungers to move forward, he would start wrapping weights around the plungers, and he got in trouble because they needed the weights for us, for the patients, to lift so we could gain strength, and you can go from a 2 pound to a 3 pound to a 4 pound, depending on your situation, how stronger you get. And he would get in trouble because sometimes there would be no weights, and they would have to go chase him down, or if he wasn't up yet, because some of us were late sleepers, because we're young, we're teenagers, sleeping in and stuff like that when we can. And they would go to his room and get all the weights off of his plungers, and be like, "We told you could have some, especially the big, big ones that only the, guys like you are able to, And so, yeah, I learned a lot from him also. And he was such a cool guy. Like, it was hard for me to play games. It's hard for me to play games because of my fingers, and I get so frustrated. I'm a stubborn person, so I don't even try, honestly. Uh, Especially if I start playing and I start losing, uh, and people would always want me to participate, even if it was hard for me. And I'll explain I didn't want to. And he was one of these people. And I remember he had this one fun game, a street racing game, and for the PlayStation 2. Oh my gosh, this game was so fun, and I was actually able to play it. And me and him would just be playing that game as long as we can, for the night. I remember one night, they let us, so the later we could stay up sometimes, the better for us, because like I said, we're teenagers. Especially I was 13 when I first got injured. I think this guy I'm telling you about was 14. The positive dude was probably about 14, and there was a few other people that was around. There was a little crew. There was always a little crew when I went there to the hospital. And this is time, it was all guys that was there, all around my age, or like I said, a year or two older, if anything. And so I remember for new oh, this must be another hospital stay, but I still gotta tell this one. It was New Year's, and the group of guys was there. And for New Year's Eve, they told us that they were gonna let us stay up, as long as we could until we had to use the bathroom, go pee. I mean, and so most of those guys could go pee on their own and lay themselves down. So they told them they for sure had until midnight, after the countdown. And if I can make it to the countdown, then of course I have been to the countdown until I had to use the bathroom. And thank goodness, because like I said, they changed shifts at 11:30. So the aides are the nurses before the new shift came helped us use the bathroom, so we could stay up for sure past midnight, so we could have the little countdown. And I'll never forget they got us fake champagne, the same fake champagne that parents get for kids, just so we could feel like we're popping champagne or whatever. So when they gave us the fake it was probably sparkling water, if anything, and they just called it purple champagne because it was purple water. Anyways, so we lied to this. Me and the other guys uh, made a thing to lie to the guy that I'm telling you about, this big muscular man. And we told him, we made up a little coup, and we told the nurses, hey, and I'm gonna end it here and tell you some more stories about the hospital. I ain't even get into the ones I wanted to tell you because now all these stories are flooding to me. Yesterday I had an audience and it was hard for me to really get into. So that's why I jumped from when I got to the hospital to me getting out. But I forgot to tell you guys some of these, amazing stories from the hospital that I remember from before I left. But this one, I guess, is after another visit. But yeah, stay. So, anyways, so it's the countdown. Or before the countdown, we lie to this guy, tell him, "Hey, man, this purple water, or whatever, is champagne." And he's like, "No way, the nurses will never get a champagne." And I said, "Man, they told us not to tell nobody, and because we're the older guys, a little, and they know we can keep a secret, that it's champagne." And he's like, "What? No way!" And we're like, "Yeah, bro, it's champagne." And so we start drinking this water, and he starts, and this probably the placebo effect. Who knows? And because I'm good at lying to myself sometimes, I like, oh man, you feel something off of something, and somebody tells you like, bro, that was a Tylenol, and you're like, oh, Anyways, so this guy's like, man, I'm feeling it, and we are like, oh man, this is too funny, this is too good. So we went back out, and we are like, man, how can we make this purple water again? Like, what can we do? So we go out, we go to the fridge. We used to have a fridge on the station, or by the where we stayed, or by our rooms and stuff. And the fridge used to be stocked up with snacks, food, in case you didn't really eat lunch. There were sandwiches in there, apples, juices, popsicles. Like I said, this hospital is amazing. Anyway, so they had, the little purple juices that they would have. I don't know if you remember at elementary schools. Well, for me, at elementary schools. Anyway, so we had these little purple juices. We opened them up. We found a way to pour them into the champagne bottle, but we noticed we're like, dang, uh, you know, I don't know what it was, but it did suzz. Like it did look like, I guess, what wine or champagne will look like. And when it just looked like just plain, the other guy I was with, he was a little smarter than I was, I guess, and he was like, "Yo, if we put Sprite in here and we shake it, it would look for real again, or like how it did, when he thought it was champagne." I was like, "Okay." So he poured the Sprite in there, shakes it, and it looked like how it looked again. So we went back, like, "Bro, look, they had another bottle, we just popped it open before we came in here." And he was like, "No way." And like I said, he's acting drunk. So we pour the drinks. He asks us, because there was like a little left after we poured us all a cup. He was like, "Let me have it." And he's slurring, he's acting so drunk. And we're like, "Have it, bro." And he has it, and I forgot what time. It was probably 11:30. And he goes, "I can't take it no more." And I hope these people don't hate me, because I'm gonna tell a little personal stories. But like I said, I'm not mentioning no names. So, anyways, and if they do hear this ever, and I hope they forgive me. But like I said, I'm not mentioning no names. So we go to he acts like he's too drunk. So he goes to the room to knock out. And like 10, 15 minutes goes by. And one of the guys was like, hey, let's go. I think all the other guys end up going to bed before us. They didn't want to do the countdown. They didn't really care too much. I don't know what the situation was. But so it was me and one other guy left. And he goes, hey, let's go check on him. Let's go see what he's doing, you know? And it wasn't like the door, I don't know if the doors had locks on them or not. I don't think they did. Anyway, so we go inside the room. And when we open the door, the guy opens the door first and he goes in. And when he comes out, I'll never forget. This guy comes out laughing, and he's laughing so hard, and I've never seen this in a movie or in real life, but he's laughing so hard, and I swear to you people, every time he laughs, he passes gas. So he's like, hop, 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 hop. And I'm like, yo, what's so? And he's laughing so hard. And I'm like, damn, what could be that funny? You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, bro, you gotta go in there. You gotta go in there. So I go in there, and when I go in there, yo, this man is laid out on the bed, on his stomach, laid out. I don't know why. His pants were all the way down, and his boxers too, and his butt was exposed. And oh man, and you know, us being young and dumb, I had a little camera. And he goes, the guy went, hey, go get the camera and take a picture. And I'm like, what? No, I'm not trying that on my camera, bro. And it was a little camera I won from the hospital. You can't see the images on the camera. It's a little camera. I didn't even think it worked. So anyways, I grabbed the little camera, I took the picture. It was funny. We go to bed. So to fasten the story up, my mom comes, and this is before I was being discharged, and this was a different time, obviously. Yeah, this was definitely a different time because I was being discharged. And anyways, so before I was being discharged, shortly before, my mom got the camera that I totally forgot about. I didn't even think it worked, but she saw it, and she thought it would be a nice, sweet thing to get the picture developed. Show me the pictures I took in with it, and she saw it was done in full. So she's surprised. I totally forgot about the picture. I didn't even think it worked either. And I had this camera the whole time I was there. And this second stay I was there was probably 6 months too. And I'll tell you more about that, of course, later on. So, anyways, um, we go to my room, and my mom, gathers me and this guy. He's still there. He's there, the bigger guy. The other guy wasn't there no more. I wish he was there, man. Anyways, so my mom was like, hey, I developed the pictures for you. Remember the camera you had? And I said, yeah. She said, I developed the pictures you took with it. And I said, oh, I didn't know it. It worked, Mom. And she said, yeah. Do you want to look at the pictures? I said, yeah, Mom. So, we're going through the pictures. It's all beautiful, going through the memories and stuff like that. And as we're going through the pictures, we get to the pictures of things like that. And his butt showing. And I guess he knows his butt. And he goes, I just remember, I'll never forget. I wish I could record this stuff. I know it would be better if I had, I'm not good with technology, because if I was able to show camera footage of even something relatable. Oh my God. I hope somebody helps me edit these videos in the future. Or anyway, so this man's going through the pictures, and imagine you're going through the pictures and you see a disrespectful picture of yourself, and he just looks, and he looks at me, and I look at the picture like, oh, and my mom looks at the picture, and he goes, bro, you think this is funny, bro? And I go, yo, bro, I said, I totally forgot about this picture, bro. I was like, yo. And he goes, I'm keeping this picture and I'm going to throw it away. I say, yo, of course. I don't want that picture. But of course. And oh my gosh, I got many stories to come. I hope you like it. I'm going to end it here. I was supposed to send this video to my brother to edit. I'm gonna start. He's good with technology, so he's gonna start helping me edit my videos. He has some ideas. Um, but like I said, I'm making these videos to motivate, to get my story out there, to let people know you could leave home. You know, you don't have to stay home, and when you leave home, it can probably be the best thing that you ever did for yourself, um, paralyzed or not. You know, here to motivate. And I hope you guys are liking my story so far. And like I said, I mean no disrespect to anybody when I tell my story, because I wouldn't want nobody to disrespect me. So yes, enjoy and thank you for listening and tuning in.